So once upon a time, all will be left is to just print this test at this point, right? Just print enough copies for all the students and hand them out, and they will complete, and that will be it. But no, with online and blended approach, what app can we really use to get the same results without everyone being in the same physical space? Well, I have one solution, and it's a very simple solution to share with you today. This technology is Google Forms. Most of us are very familiar with Google as well as Google Forms. And today I will be sharing with us how it is that we can use this to put this same test on a platform that is accessible to students as well as easily marked and assessed by the teachers. So the first thing that we will be required to do is to search for it. We have to search for Google Forms in Google. So here it is right here. We'll just type in the words Google Forms and the search results would pop right up. So here we have several results, and the chief most is the one that we need. Google Forms, free online surveys for personal use. So you can see here that it is already highlighted because I've used it before. But yes, right here at Google Forms Create, we would select this option in order to create our assessment. So let's just select Google Forms Create, and we'll be presented with these two options, Business Google Workspace or Personal. For this time around, I will be selecting Personal. So I will click this here and it will bring me to Google Forms. So here I have the option of creating a new form. There are also many forms that I have created before, but let us make a new form. So after clicking new form, we are going to go, let me highlight, we're going to go right up here to the search wheel, and we are going to customize a bit so that what we have here will be very much a test or a quiz. So we could use a general setting, which would collect people's email addresses and possibly require them to sign in, and they would edit after submitting if it's allowed, or see a summary chart if that is allowed. Now this is more suitable to collecting data in surveys, etc. We could choose the option of presentation as well, but for this time around, because we want to make assessment, we're going to select the option of quizzes. So I'm going to go to the quizzes tab, and then I'm going to turn this on, make this a quiz. So here I have some options that are tailored to quizzes. I am able to immediately release the grade or release the grade later after I review the questions manually. So I can allow the respondent to also see missed questions, the correct answers, and how much the questions are worth right here at point values. I am in agreement with all these options that are selected, so I'm going to click Save. So now it is time for me to put in all the required information for my test. So let's say this is a plane geometry test. And I could also put the grade, grade 9. I can also put all the instructions for the test as well as the time. So let's put the instructions. Instructions, answer all questions by selecting most appropriate response. So the teacher will be able, you will be able to customize this in any way that you feel is correct. You can also enter, you can write any form of detail that you would like to write in this section here. Here is where we place our questions. So we have different options for questions. We have multiple choice questions. We are also able to select short answer. Let's look at what short answer looks like. Let me put a question here. So the question is, what triangle has, oh my, let's delete that. What triangle has no unequal sides? So no, I can leave it as a short answer. So the student will be able to just write their answer right here. It can also be a paragraph. This question can't be answered in a paragraph, but I could do that. It could also be multiple choice, check boxes. Let's look at that one. We could use drop down. They could be allowed to upload a file, and there are even more interesting ways to fill out this test. There can be a linear scale as well, so the students could be required to judge between an option of 1 to 5 or whatever number it is you choose. There can also be a multiple choice grid. You are able to customize your rows and your columns, and a checkbox grid as well. So there are a wide range of options when it comes to the format you want to put your questions in. It doesn't always have to be multiple choice. For this question, I'm going to leave it as a short answer. So this can be the whole test, not at all. In order to add to this, I am going to either press the duplicate button. Let's press the duplicate button in order to repeat this question. So after I've repeated this question, I can simply just change what is here. So let's say I want this to be a multiple choice question this time. Also, it is very possible for you to number your questions. Let's say that I already have questions in my document and I really do not want to have to type them all over again. Let me show you what could simply be done. All right. So here I have opened my test, which I have already written. And this is the test that I want to share with my students. I don't want to have to type everything back into this Google form here. So what I can do is I can simply go into the document that I already have, copy it. So let's copy question 1, and I can simply just paste it. Paste it right here, right? And see, it comes with the number and everything. Here we go. Number 1, how many total degrees are in a circle? So let's say I don't want this to be number 1, of course. So let me just change it to number 2. I can also just edit this to have a number as well. So this is my number 1. All right. So what about the answers? Am I able to do the same thing with the answers, or do I have to type them all one at a time? Okay, so we are able to copy and paste the answers. So let me do just that. Here I go. I'll just copy the answers here, and I will go right here to option 1, and I will highlight option 1. Then I will right click and select paste. There you go. All of my options are now here. So how is it, you may wonder, that this forum, Google Forms, is going to be able to test the students and know whether or not the answer is right or wrong? So I will let us discover how to do that now. So what we would do to ensure that the answer is there so that the students will be graded and marked is we will select the questions, and right here, this blue mark that says answer key, we will click on that. So now we will able to type, we'll be able to type the correct answer. So the correct answer for this question is, what triangle has no unequal sides? It is a equilateral triangle. And I'm also able to add more correct answers. So a student might say equilateral triangle, a student might say equilateral. So both of those I would accept as correct answers. So I will now select mark all other answers as incorrect. Also, it's very important for me to decide how many points are accorded to this question. And I have decided that it's, let's make it 2 points. 2 points for this question. When I am finished, I will click done. Also, if I want to add feedback to the answers to explain what I've already written here, I can easily do so. But I am not going to do that this time around. I'm going to select done. And there it is, the students are able to answer and have their answer corrected immediately. And I can do the very same for this question as well. Answer key. So the question says, how many total degrees are in a circle? This is my correct answer, and I would like it to value 1 point. After this, I select done, and that is it. Don't forget to title your form. So I would like this test to be named Plain Geometry Test Grade 9. So there you go. So you have the option of deciding whether or not your test will accept responses. So if it is that you would rather your test not accept any more responses because the time for the test is done or the time for the test hasn't started, you can simply select accepting responses, turn it off. So at this point, it is not accepting responses. So when I turn this on, it will be able to access responses. Also, the responses that you get, you're able to create a spreadsheet that will organize these responses. So let us now explore the Send tab. So with Send, you are able to gather a link for your test. And this link you can use to share the test. So you can share it via email. Here, you would create an email list, or you can use a link, which you just copy with this copy button. Here you can see it copied to the clipboard. Before I send this test, however, I want to turn on preview so that I can see how this test will look to the students. And I can check my spellings and everything. So here you go. This is what the short test would look like to the students. Let's try answering it. So, what triangle has no unequal sides? The equilateral triangle. So there you go. That's not how you spell triangle. How many total degrees are in a circle? Let's say it was 100 and well, it was 90 for me. So now the student will have the option to submit the test. Let's see what will happen when they submit the test. They will get this message saying that their response has been recorded. They will also be able to view the score. So here they are able to see what it is that they got wrong and what it is that they got correct. Okay? So that in summation is how we would use the Google Forms to create a test. Now I will show you the same test that I had shown before in Word document. I will show that test, what it looks like in completion in Google Forms. So here is the test that we had previously shown in the Word document. So I am going to go to preview so we can see the test as the student would see it. Here it is, loading, loading. And you can see I have already turned it off. I turned it off, so at no time can anyone submit a response to my test at this moment. If I go back here now and I go to responses and I turn it on to accept responses, I will be able to see the test, right? So let's go to questions and let's look at the test the way students would see it. So now it is on. It has the title of the test, the instructions for the test, and also the questions, almost all of which are multiple choice. So let's just select some random answers to see what would happen to a child who has answered to submit this test. So this child is just selecting the answers that he hypothetically believes are correct. And we're almost there. As you may notice, my test also has true and false questions. So let us just submit this test and see what happens. So the student's response has been recorded. Now let's view the score. So right away, the student would be shown what it is they did correctly and what they did incorrectly. Also, for the teacher, statistics under the summary tab will be collected to show you how it is that the students in general performed in the test. So after it is that all students have answered this test, you will be able to easily assess the data that will be present under this tab. This tab is called summary. So also you will be able to look at the different questions and to see how many students got them right or wrong, how many students responded to them. And you will also be able to assess each individual question that you have done. All right, so I'm going to now stop this test from accepting responses, and I'm also going to go back to questions. And this will be the end of our tutorial on how it is that we can use Google Forms to do a test online. Thank you for listening and spending time with me. Do have a prosperous day or night, wherever you are.